it's never easy to trade a good young player and a really good person like Emmanuel. I think as our young core progressed, Jamal, Gary, Nicole in particular, we thought it made more sense to have a veteran guy behind some of those young guys. So Devin's experience, his versatility on both ends of the floor, I think will be helpful. I thought he played very well in Phoenix, so hopefully it's a win-win for both us and the Knicks.
Tim, what were the challenges in the marketplace, in particular this deadline?
It was, I think it's become more risk-averse each year. I think as scrutiny and media grow, I think a lot of people are certainly a little trigger shy to make moves. And also it's a weird NBA where you have a handful of teams think they can compete at the highest level. You have a handful of teams who aren't trying to win, and then there's the middle class. So I think it's not just this trade deadline, I think even at last draft, I think deals have become a bit more challenging at times because of all those factors.
How different was this deadline knowing that you have an all-star caliber player coming back in 2 weeks?
Yeah, certainly you have to take that into account. I think our team's done a very nice job in Paul's absence. I think Coach and his staff have done a great job creatively using our roster. Our depth has certainly been a blessing since Paul went down in that Lakers game. So the biggest addition we're going to make is in a couple weeks when we bring Paul back. So I think you don't want to be overly reactionary to your roster as is, and always look at things as a whole, and we'll be completely healthy over a couple weeks.
Is this still a baby steps proposition, or is this team ready to make leaps forward in improvement?
I hope so. I mean, it's we don't want to skip steps, and we don't want to be unrealistic with expectations. We still have a 20-year-old point guard. We have a young center and a 23-year-old two guard. And those guys have, I think this year, grown right in front of our eyes. I think Trey Lyle's emergence has been one of the real silver linings of Paul's injuries. So I don't think you skip steps, but certainly we've been much better in close games. I think you've seen young players play roles at a high level they've not been asked to do in the past. So it's been a fun year in that regard.
When you picked Emmanuel, he's on a lot of billboards immediately, and it's just kind of a marketing campaign. When you're 18 years old and all that's happening, I mean, can that be difficult dealing with that expectation?
I think Emmanuel's maturity is one of his greatest strengths. Expectations are certainly difficult. I think what's most challenging is that position is so talent-rich right now. So playing against the Westbrooks and the Lillards and the Currys and the Pauls and the names go on and on. So I think in terms of how he handled that, it was fantastic. I think it was a unique environment where very rarely do you see a 20-year-old and 21-year-old point guard kind of platooning. So I think big picture, I think Emmanuel did a fantastic job from a maturity standpoint. As you guys all know, he's a very bright, mature kid. But the team develops. It's always a fluid environment. We thought it was a good chance to kind of back up a young guy in Jamal with a more seasoned veteran in Devin.
Did you look at options for trading Kenneth Freak?
We look at options for everybody. We were on the phone quite often. I think we're certainly not where we want to be as a team. We're always trying to put our guys in the best situation for them to play and be happy. But we had discussions about nearly everyone on our roster.
But when you talk about being a young team, I mean, you still have a chance to make it into the playoffs. Is that exciting with these young players to see that?
Yeah, it's great. It's great that after the All-Star break, our season really speeds up, and we're firmly entrenched in the Western Conference playoff race. And we're hopeful that you get Mason back, get Paul back, kind of see what the team looks like as we envision it coming out of training camp. But it's certainly exciting. It beats the alternative.
With Torrey's status on the two-way contract, how do you navigate that over the rest of the season?
We're all kind of flying blind. It's a new rule, both on the league level and the team level. It is what it is. We have to be creative in how we use those days. He's given us a nice bump. I think the other night I thought certainly it was not a pretty game, but I thought Monte's play was very strong. So we've had luck with both our two-way guys, and as the league gets more accustomed to it and we get more accustomed to it, you just have to be creative with how you use those guys.
Do you think you'll look to potentially open a roster spot to sign him so you can have him for the playoffs if you guys?
Yeah, we'll look at everything, whatever makes the most sense. Certainly, it's a kind of a unique rule. It's one that I don't quite frankly understand. I mean, I get it, but I don't know who wins there, the player or the team. But it is what it is. So that's the reality we're facing. We'll figure it out.
Coach Malone made a pretty conscious decision last month to call fewer plays, and the offense has really taken off as a result. Just what have you seen these last 13 games from your team on the offensive end?
Yeah, the ball's flying around. I think one of the great strengths that Mo has is the ability to be self-reflective and try to figure out what most is effective for our team. I think Nicola has such a unique mindset and such a unpredictable game that oftentimes less is more with him. Also, I think it's that the guys are getting used to each other. There's continuity that's starting to develop with Jamal and Gary and McCullough, and so Wilson. We've had a lot of guys that have been here for several years, so I don't think it's solely that. I also think guys are starting to understand where you're going to cut, where you want your shots, and I think the last couple weeks has been fun to see what we've done offensively.
Jamal's obviously going to be participating in a lot of all-star stuff this weekend. What's been your view of his development this season?
Well, I'm so hard on him because I think he can be special, and then I take a step back and see what he's doing at 20 years old. He's a extremely talented kid. He's a kid that cares and super competitive. So I think when I take a step back from the day-to-day, when I'm kind of always needling him and challenging him, you can't not be impressed by his play, and certainly with not just his play for his age, but the team play. So he's doing it in a winning environment for a team that's trending towards the playoffs.
You mentioned the moving kind of without the ball. Gary obviously took such a huge jump with that last year. Do you see that as part of Jamal's growth this season? Is the chemistry he seems to now have moving away with Jokic?
Yeah, I think Jamal's done a very good job of understanding there's not one way to play the point guard position. We have a unique roster, we have a unique offense, and certainly the way we score is not typical. So Jamal is so motivated to be special and great that he wants to play perfect basketball, and the more we get him to relax, the better he is. And I don't think Jamal's going to be John Stockton, nor do we need him to be. So I think he's started to understand the nuances of being a scoring point guard, and also how effective he can be playing off guys like McCullough.
You kind of touched on this earlier, but what's been your reaction to what Trey Lyles has been able to do this year, especially given his last 2 years in Utah?
He's been great. Trey had a fantastic summer, fantastic preseason, and we have a very talent-rich front court. So we didn't see himself. He was in the rotation early on, and Paul's injury gave him an opportunity. Now it's been 2.5 months of high-level basketball. So I think he's a guy that's extremely skilled, extremely talented offensively. I think he's a guy that has a high IQ, kind of plays with a calm that's rare for guys who are 22 years old. So we're fortunate to have him, and we're excited to see it continue to grow.
What did you see in Devin's game that you want Jamal to take?
Well, Devin, he played 60 playoff games. That'd be cool. I think he averaged 23. He's been an all-star. So if we go 3 for 3, we'd be good. I think Devin's a very unique player in terms of he's literally seen everything in the NBA, from the lottery to being one of the league's lead scorers to a kind of Swiss Army knife in Dallas, playing several positions. So I think Devin's calm he has out there that wasn't, Devin didn't have that when he was 20 years old at Wisconsin, certainly. The way he can defend different positions, and kind of his overall knowledge of not just the NBA game, but NBA personnel.
What's it been like to see the fan base growing and supporting the Nuggets more and more? You're setting records and attendance. What's that been like?
It was great. I tell you, we lost to Boston, then we beat Oklahoma City, and then we beat Golden State. It was, I was a fan for the last several minutes of those games, and it was really neat to see the fans come back out. We haven't given them a ton to be supportive of the last several years, so certainly to have a week like that and have a young core like this, it's fun to watch. And I think, I'm far from objective, but I think it is a fun team, and I enjoy watching them play. So it's fun to see the community get behind that.
You've made the moves that you feel like you needed to make personnel-wise. If there was one thing that you could give this team to infuse them either psychologically or emotionally down the stretch, what would it be?
Jeez, should I be funny or honest?
Either way.
I just want these guys to play a confident brand of basketball and relax. I think we have a very hard-working team. Our coaching staff is the hardest-working coaching staff in the league. So I think the preparation should allow us to play with a degree of confidence and swagger as we approach these last 20-plus games.
I know you got a full roster right now, but do you anticipate being active on the buyout market at all?
Who knows? Obviously, I don't want to have a strong no, but there's nobody we have circled. We like our roster. We like the kind of complexion of our team, from young to, I'd say middle-aged when they're 26, 27, 28, but middle-aged to old, mid-30s. But we like how there's different voices and different experiences in our locker room, and we think if we have to finish the season out, we're pretty excited about the 17 guys we have in there.
Thanks,
guys.
Thank you.